What is up, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. Right now we are celebrating paying off $40,000 from our mortgage, and I wanted to do a video on why we are paying off our mortgage as well as how. First, why. It is not always a good idea to pay off your house early, and here's a few scenarios where this would be true. Number one is if you still have consumer debt, and by consumer debt I mean really any personal debt that you have. So this would include medical debt, debt to family members, IRS debt, student loans, credit cards, any debt that is not strictly business debt. It's a terrible idea to try and pay your house off early when you still have all of that baggage. Surprisingly, I see this with my clients all too often. Their monthly mortgage payment will be something like $890 or something like that. And each month they'll round it up to $1,000. And I'm like, stop! What are you doing? Stop doing that. You have no savings. Your credit cards are eating you alive, and for some reason, you feel compelled to put more money toward a debt that has an almost negligible interest rate. Number two is that it's a very bad idea to start attacking your mortgage if you don't have a big savings already, meaning 3 to 6 months expenses saved up. After you pay off all of your consumer debt, all of your debt, like I said, besides business debt, you can't just skip straight to paying off your house. You have to have a 3 to 6 months emergency fund saved up first. And you might be thinking, well, which one is it? 3 months savings or 6 months? And really, that depends on your lifestyle, the amount of risk that's in your life, and a lot of other variables. I walk all of my clients through an exercise that shows them how much risk is in their life and which one would be more appropriate for their particular situation. Number three, you should not be attacking your mortgage if you are not already investing. And I know what you're thinking again, how much should I be investing? Kind of a blanket statement for this is 15% of your take-home pay should be invested. But this blanket statement of 15% doesn't take into account, number one, your age, your standard of living, when you want to retire, and how much you have already put into your investments. There are many online calculators for investing that will take all of those things into account plus more. So if you're wanting a more accurate, still ballpark number, I would play around with those and see exactly where you're at. You should not pay off your house before you start investing, because time in the market and the return on that money that you're going to receive is far going to outweigh the interest rate on your house. Especially if you are diversifying correctly, if you're using a target date index fund or something equivalent, it is in fact far more risky to pay off your house first than to invest accordingly. Number four, if you have children and you have not set anything aside for them first, if they have no savings, do not pay off your house early and attack that. You need to set aside savings accounts for your children first, whether that be college or higher education, a wedding fund, some other sort of savings. You need to set aside that money first before you attack the house. Also, side note, make sure you do your research on those various accounts, because you want that money to be tax advantaged if at all possible. And number five, I would say the majority of real estate investors would also advise you to not pay off your house before you dive into real estate. We are not. We have worked so hard to get to where we are. We are pretty risk averse in this manner, so we are paying off our house first before we really dive into real estate. Trust me, I am well aware that the money I'm going to use to pay off the house, I could leverage and invest in real estate and create passive income streams for myself and blah, blah, blah. But these real estate investors are usually very young. I'm going to go ahead and say it, very naive, and they usually weren't doing real estate back in 2008 when the housing market crashed. crashed. This is a big trend that I see with new real estate investors, and it's so crazy to me how quickly we forget about events like 2008 that turned so many lives completely upside down. If you want to learn more about the housing market crash of 2008, I highly recommend watching The Big Short, and I believe you can still find that on Amazon Prime. The story of 2008, as told especially through that movie, will absolutely blow your mind wide open, open your eyes to the dangers of investing in real estate when things like that happen. And honestly, it'll probably make you a little bit more risk averse like me. So those are 4 situations and circumstances where it is not appropriate to go ham and attack and pay off your mortgage early. It just doesn't make sense financially. And if you do so, you're going to be shooting yourself in the foot. We have already checked all of those boxes, and so as we pursue being financially independent and retiring early, it makes the most sense for us to attack our mortgage, completely pay that off first, then beef up our emergency fund, and then invest in real estate first here in St. Louis and then in other cities as well. If you have to choose between investing and paying off your house early, I know it's going to be so tempting to want to pay your house off, but I beg you guys, please take investing seriously. Make sure that you're putting some of your money into your appropriate investments so that you can reap the tax advantages now as well as later. As for us, that is a big part of why we are paying off our house early right now. It was a part of a 2.5-year plan that we started a year ago, so we're already a year into this process of paying off our house fast. So let's talk about how we are paying our house off so fast. So just like 90% of everyone who buys a house, when we bought our house, we got a 30-year fixed mortgage. Our interest rate was okay, but the big killer was that we had PMI on our mortgage. When we first bought our house, the amount going to the balance, the principal amount each month, was just over $200. It was so bad. This is a big reason why we refinanced in 2018. It was to get a better interest rate, which we were able to do by going with a 20-year loan, and we absolutely wanted to get rid of PMI. Ultimately, this was really a no-brainer for us, but refinancing is very expensive. With all of the closing costs and the fees and everything that went into it, it had basically wiped out any principal that we had paid down for 2 years. When we refinanced at that point, every single payment had over $400 going to principal each month. We had no PMI on our monthly mortgage payment, and the monthly payment itself was just barely bigger than what it had been before. When you look at your situation and deciding on if refinancing is worth it to you, you've got to run the numbers. Refinancing would not make sense if you wouldn't at least break even on the cost to refinance. Since it was very early on in the loan for us, and PMI was ultimately going to cost us tens of thousands of dollars over the next several years, it was really a no-brainer for us. If you want to learn more about how to get a home loan without PMI, definitely check out this video here where I go into all the details on what I wish we would have done the first time around. The other big thing that we did was we got a plan. We used this mortgage payoff calculator to run different scenarios, and we wanted to find the tipping point for us. Where do we save the most in interest, move the needle continuously, but also get this paid off before we get super burned out? The number that made sense for us was to pay off 2% of the total loan each month. We knew we had to get our income up in order to do that. You cannot scrimp and frugal your way into paying off your house aggressively. So what we did is we got creative and we started increasing our streams of income. If you want to know more about that, I go into all of our streams of income plus our future streams of income in this video here. Another big motivation for diversifying our streams of income was lessening the amount of risk in our life, and then COVID happened. We were really blessed that we had put a lot of these things into motion before COVID, and so we weren't really scrambling a whole lot in the early months of 2020. Another thing that really keeps us going and keeps us motivated as we strive to pay off our house fast is the reasoning behind doing so. Financial independence and retiring early is something that we talk about regularly. It's not in this like dreamy, imagine if kind of way. We have very tangible things that we want to do once we're able to reach that point. It feels very real to us with each passing month that whenever we pay off our house, that is going to free up thousands of dollars that we can then use to start other businesses, to invest in real estate, to invest more in the stock market, and basically to travel and save and crush our bucket lists. Videos like this are always very telling for the viewer. If you found this video to be very inspiring and encouraging, and it makes you want to get out there and increase your streams of income and find a big motivation behind the dreams that you want to pursue, that's a good indication that you have a very healthy money mindset. On the other hand, if this video made you very sour and your initial reaction was, wow, must be nice, or this isn't helpful at all because it's so unattainable, that's a good indication that you have a very poor money mindset. The truth is, whether you think that this is attainable for you or not, you're right. When I quit my job in 2017, I would have never dreamed that this was even possible for us. And that was a huge part of the problem. I had to really work on my money mindset, and I had to nurture a growth mindset in order to be where I'm at today. If that interests you, I'm curious. I don't know if there'd be enough interest to do an entire video on money mindset and the changes that I made over the last few years to get my money mindset to where it is today. So if that is interesting to you, if you don't even know the first step on how to change and create a healthy money mindset and you want me to do a video on that, definitely leave me a comment below. If there's enough interest, I would love to do a video like that for you guys. If you got value out of this video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.